Hey, what's going on, TikTok? How you guys doing? I haven't done a live in a couple of weeks because, well, I haven't done a live on my own channel in a couple of weeks because every time I go live, I tend to get kicked off of here or banned or whatever. Last time I did a live, I think I was live for about 30 minutes before I was temporarily banned. I couldn't use live for like a week. So I took a hiatus from attempting to do lives, although it still let me do lives with other people, like as a guest. So anyway, this is me coming back to do more lives. I noticed that TikTok has a new feature called live subscriptions, and I'm really interested in that because I think it might help us create a community where we can have lives without having all the trolls pop in at the same time. It kind of puts a small paywall between the trolls and us. But at the same time, I don't know what that's going to cost for people or what that really means. So I'm looking into that, but I can't even like enable that or try it out until I've done certain like 30 minutes worth of live streaming in the last 30 days. And so since I haven't, I thought I'd pop in here and say hi to everybody. What's up, Ragnar? How you doing, man? I'm having a great day. It's Friday. It's Cinco de Mayo. My wife Jackie got us reservations to a fancy Mexican restaurant, so we'll celebrate in our own way. But hey, what's up, Jay? Thanks. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I've been getting inbox messages and emails and stuff from people asking me to talk more about my combat experience and my military experience. Some of you guys might already know that I was in the Marine Corps for 13 years. I was a combat infantryman, a machine gunner. I was a combat instructor. I was a counterintelligence specialist, and then I was a light armor reconnaissance platoon sergeant. So I did a whole range of things, deployed many times, went lots of different places. Thank you, Trisha. I appreciate it. And I will tell Jackie that she's doing well. Thank you. So I thought I'd come on here and just kind of change the pace a bit and change the focus for this one and just sort of talk about some of my military experience, maybe a little bit less controversial than my typical content, but who knows, maybe it's just as controversial. I guess we'll find out. What's up, Cass and Steffi Lou? Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really enjoy creating the content. As you guys know, I've been doing this for many years on YouTube, but I just came over to TikTok like 6 months ago, and it's been really, really fun. The culture on TikTok is more suitable for my most recent material, so it makes more sense. Tayo Cruz says, "What's your regular controversial content?" I am an ex-Christian evangelist who taught the scriptures from a bunch of different denominational perspectives. And then I became an agnostic atheist. So I had a transformation of worldview of lots of things. So I share my new perspectives and why on this channel usually. But today, talking about the military, Marine Corps, and let's see, what does it say? Someone said, oh, this is TikTok talking to me, giving me advice. Okay. Harry O says, get a haircut. No, I'm good, man. I got a haircut every single day for 13, not every day, every week for 13 years. 0 to 3, faded, of course. What's up, Christy? How you doing? Good to see you. Dad Lord, can I just ask where your belief lies now? Do you believe in a higher power? To an extent, I believe that there is higher power. There's power that we don't necessarily understand. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I wouldn't call it being a God-believing person, though. I consider myself an agnostic atheist. I think that if there is a godlike entity or a group of entities that we haven't really identified it and don't really communicate with it, and it must not really be interested in communicating with us. What do you do for peace? I'm, hang out with my family. I eat healthy, work out, read, meditate, smoke weed, all kinds of stuff for peace. I enjoy peace every day, man. It's great. It's honestly like my entire, my 37 years as a Christian, and my entire, sort of, I guess you would say, existential journey brought me a lot of anxiety and a lot of crisis. So, do I listen to the Backstreet Boys? Yes, I do listen to the Backstreet Boys. I probably know all their songs. Yeah, I'm a loser, I know. No, but when I was in high school, and this is like in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was really into hip hop, R&B, pop, pretty much a little bit of everything. But I liked to sing, so I liked vocalists, and I thought that the Backstreet Boys and I don't know, I was a hopeless romantic too growing up, so I just always wanted to be within that vibe of romance and love and all this stuff. So yeah, I like that stuff. I still do. I'll just be honest. I don't care. I literally write rap and have produced and released rap songs. They're actually linked in my bio. So hip hop is really probably my favorite, but yeah, I like pop. Let's see. Backstreet's back. Come on. That's right. Thank you, Forrest Dumps. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have you ever sang a significant other a Backstreet Boys song? Yeah, I have. I used to love karaoke, man. I used to do karaoke all the time. I used to sing I'll Never Break Your Heart and, I Want It That Way and all that crap. Yeah. Cheesy. I know. Cheesy. It's gonna be May. That's right. That's such a funny meme, man. I just saw that for the first time recently, that Justin Timberlake, it's gonna be May. My wife and I joke all the time about the way that pop artists pronounce things. It's hilarious. What's it? Jesse McCartney. What's it? What Beautiful Soul? I can't remember. He says something in such a funny way. It's hilarious. I can't remember what it is right now off the top of my head. You love cheese. That's cool. Cheese is great. I love cheese too. I eat cheese often. I'm a keto, so I don't eat hardly any carbs at all, and cheese is definitely a staple of my diet. Thank you. Thank you, MAGA Babe. I appreciate that. Forrest says, I used to get them to do Between the Sheets, then do a mix with Biggie. That's funny. That's funny. What's up, Josh Raw? What's going on, bro? Good to see you, man. Josh Raw is, by the way, a great content creator. I love his stuff. I actually did a show with him once. It was really good. Bron Brolton. Hey, what's up, Bron? I did keto and lost, what do you say, 91 pounds, but gained back 110. Wow, that sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been living directly, like just straight on keto for almost 3 years now, me and my wife. I was 200, just about 200 pounds when I started keto, and now I am 168. So, and I've stayed the same weight for a very long time. But I was always into weightlifting and working out and running and all this stuff. I was into fitness, obviously. I was a Marine and everything. And even when I was really strong and in really great shape, I always had a hard time losing that like body fat you need to lose to really have a chiseled look and all that. And keto just was the cheat button for that. It was like, all that's gone. It's been gone. So now it's like, I don't know. It's easy for me to sort of maintain my weight and look and everything just by my diet alone. But yeah, my favorite cheese was mozzarella because I was histamine intolerant. So I had to eat mozzarella because I had the lowest histamine levels. But now I can eat any cheese I want. So I don't know. I like white cheddar. I like Gouda, Brie, all kinds of stuff. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, bro. Is Jordan in here? What's up, Jordan? Hold up. I'm not seeing the chat. Although, oh, here we go. There we go. Straight. Okay, cool. That's cool, Josh. That's awesome, bro. Yeah, sort of. Some people do that too. They'll do keto strictly, then they'll kind of switch to a sort of a paleo thing. My kids are more paleo, I would say. She's here, getting ready to head out, just stopping by to say hi. Okay, what's up, Jordan? Obviously, if you guys don't know Jordan the Grey Witch, the one and only on TikTok, then you got to check her stuff out, obviously. Very great content. Pablo San, eating 2 meals a day, electric foods only. Gotcha. Yeah, I hear you. And I did OMAD for a while too, which is 1 meal a day. Diosa says, I tell all my Christian friends about bullet holes in the Bible. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hopefully I don't scare them away too quickly. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yes, Josh, you do. You need to interview Jordan for sure. That's right. I know Jordan and I keep talking about it, and we're like, man, we got to get on a live stream together. And actually, the last time I was about to get on a live stream with her, we had like a schedule mix up or something. Like she had to go and I couldn't get on at the same time. So I just went live by myself instead, right after we were kind of planning on going live. And then during my live stream, I got banned from being live for 7 days. So that was a couple of weeks ago. So we gotta coordinate. We'll get it going. Yeah, everyone says it'll just be a live stream about hair, essentially. Are you good with your military pass? Yeah, I mean it's as good as I can be. I mean, I've gone through a lot of different perspective shifts on my military pass. When I was in the military, I didn't have fun. After I got out of the military, I really hated it. I really hated the Marine Corps, and as a hardcore Christian, I really didn't like what we were involved in and everything. But looking back now, with a little bit more, I guess, maturity and time spent decompressing from all the things that I endured, I don't know. I think that it's a decision each person has to make for themselves, but ultimately, I think that at the front of our mind has to be, do we want to be willing pawns in a political game? Do we want to give our lives to that? Like not just our waking up at 5 a.m. and running 3 miles every day, not just giving that life, your actual living life to that, but also do you want to give your actual life, like dying for political strategy, essentially. I mean, me and my brothers, we fought in the Iraq War primarily. And of course, some of you might already know, I was in a documentary, by the way, called 46 Days of Hell in Fallujah. And it's on YouTube. But where was I going with this? Yeah, we experienced a lot of loss and a lot of chaos, a lot of trauma. People still dealing with it to this day. And so this was in 2004. And it was essentially over a political thing. We ended up just giving Iraq right back, handing it back over to the same people we took it from. Not same people, but, there was no weapons of mass destruction there. It was sort of a political thing. So I joined because I wanted to vindicate Americans from the attacks on the Twin Towers in 9/11 and all that. And so, at the time, I thought going to Iraq to fight bad guys was somehow related to that. And, hindsight's 2020. It's not really related to that at all. But yeah, forest dumps. One of the best days of my life is when I was injured. Oh, thanks, Diosa de la Luna. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like that comparison. Jordan says, it's got to be tough reconciling the whole thou shalt not kill while being in the military. I know. Well, it's what it boils down to is in the Bible, we also see armies and security and guards and stuff like that. So there's always like this underlying church thing that we do in the Christian world where we just say, oh, well, except for the soldiers, like, they'll say you should keep the Sabbath and you can't work on the Sabbath, whatever, except for the security and the armed guards and the soldiers and the priests and all this stuff. So there's always some weird little loophole exception that lets people go and do what, Americans do. But yeah, we thought we were the exception to that rule because we needed to like defend our country and all this stuff. Yeah. Forrest Dump says, I was in during a time when we didn't do anything. Yeah, I know a lot of guys like that. I know guys who joined before the war started. They were in during the 90s. And I have friends who joined sort of as the war was dwindling down. They joined like after 2010 and did 4 to 8 years after that. And they didn't really see any action or anything either. So yeah, it was a um, really interesting time when I joined, literally right as the war kicked off, because I wanted to be part of it. And be careful what you ask for. Yeah. I work in medicine 24/7. We never close. Okay. Yeah, that sucks. Mm-hmm. Yep. I hear you. Forest dumps. I was in post Desert Storm pre 9/11. Hey, there you go. There you go, Josh. Make sure you message Jordan. She's gonna hook you up with an interview. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, that's really the basis for. I mean, a big chunk of who I am, my personality, the way I think, the way I do things. Like so much of that has to do with the way I was conditioned and indoctrinated into the military at 18. I mean, literally, I just turned 18 when I joined, and then I was in for 13, living a crazy life there. So, yeah, it was a huge influence on who I am and the way I do things. But at the same time, I've intentionally deconstructed a lot of those thought patterns and behaviors as well. Obviously, the military, especially the infantry military, is full of a lot of masculinity and bravado and dark humor and sexism and all kinds of stuff. The darker the humor, the better in the Marine Corps. So a lot of jokes are made that aren't really that funny once you kind of decompress and step away from it. But while you're in it, you think it's hilarious. It's kind of sick, actually. Yeah, Forrest Dump says, I deeply regret influencing my son to go in. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah. I try. People who ask me whether or not they should join the military, I try and tell them no, without, like I don't know. If you want to, I have siblings who also joined the military, but they all joined the Air Force and they're intelligence linguists, literally all of them. I have, well, three out of the other four. There's five kids total, but three of them ended up being intelligence linguists with the Air Force after I joined the Marine Corps. And yeah, experiences may vary for sure. They didn't go to war. They didn't deal with 90% of the stuff I dealt with on a daily basis, even back when they're not at war, just in training and daily life and stuff. And they have a great gig. They really enjoy it. It's easy and they get paid well and they like the benefits, blah, 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 blah. Now, politically speaking, like sociologically or whatever, they're still in a way technically pawns in a political game, and I personally don't want to play that game anymore. But they're not over there shooting at people, putting their lives in danger every day, and to them it's more like a 9 to 5, So I don't know. To each his own, But I wouldn't. I tell my kids that I don't think that's the best path. I prefer to inspire my kids to not be so reliant upon the system, that system specifically for sustenance, and because you become just a slave to whatever they tell you. You can literally go to prison in the brig on base for disobeying the lawful orders that they give you while you're in the military. So you literally don't even own yourself. Yeah. Let's see. My son heads to Africa in September. SF, Airborne Ranger. Hope he comes home to my grandkids. Yeah, yeah. I have several friends who are in SF, or at least were. They were stationed out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. But yeah, they go to a lot of austere places and weird operations and stuff. So, best of luck, for sure. But yeah. Paul says, what was your MOS? I started off as a 0331 infantry machine gunner. I did that for the first 8 years. The first four as just a dude running around pulling the trigger, and the second 4 years as a machine gun instructor at Marine Corps headquarters, Quantico. After that, I did a lateral move and became an 0211, which is a counterintelligence specialist. and I was there for just over a year and some change. I absolutely hated it, and literally requested to go back to the infantry. But they didn't send me back to the normal infantry. They sent me to 2nd Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion, where at that point I was a 0369, which is a infantry unit leader. But I got sort of retrained into being a LAV platoon leader. So I was a Light Armored Reconnaissance platoon leader the last couple of years. I also served in other tertiary billets. I was like the 3rd Marine Division training NCO, and I was a rifle instructor. I went to the black belt school and became a black belt in Marine Corps martial arts. I got a lot of tertiary things that I did also, but those are my primary MOSs. What's the Marine SAW? 240? No, the SAW is the M249. The M240 is a medium machine gun. It's bigger, has a bigger range, larger ammo. But the SAW is it shoots 5.56 rounds, belt fed, of course. But the 240 shoots 7.62 rounds. So the SAW is carried by regular infantrymen, whereas the 240 is carried by machine gunners exclusively. Again, I was a machine gun instructor also, so I love machine guns. I know a lot about them, but at least the machine guns we use in the Marine Corps. So, yeah. Do you have an opinion on the 5555 portal today? I don't know what that is, the 5555 portal. Maybe you can explain it to me. My step-grandfather was a Marine full-bird fighter pilot, Colonel Don Conroy, the Great Santini. Wow, that's awesome. That's crazy. Becoming a fighter pilot is not easy to do. Jazzy Girl says, how do you understand the Bible so well? I studied it a lot, a lot. I mean, I was born and raised in it. I was born and raised in Christianity, went to Christian school, Christian church, Christian youth group, played on Christian basketball teams. In my 20s, I became a leader in Christian churches. I was always helping, evangelizing, door knocking, handing out pamphlets, helping to lead different things. And then into my 30s, I really dug in even deeper and started studying all the different translations of the Bible, the Septuagint, the Masoretic texts. I started looking at the Greek and Hebrew interlinear texts. I started reading the books that were in the Bible originally and then got removed. So the Bible used to have 80 books in it, and they changed it to 66 in 1881, I want to say, somewhere in there. Westcott Hort revision. So I started reading the books that were taken out. I just got deeper and deeper into it. I was so fascinated by it because I wanted to know the truth about God's word, and I wanted to follow it as best as I possibly could. And I got quite obsessive over it. And I think that I guess one of the talents that I have is that I am good at remembering things. So when I study stuff, I remember it. And yeah, I just absorbed. I started to question myself, question my own presuppositions about Christianity. I started to question the things that I was told, and started finding issues. And so in the process of doing that, I just became very knowledgeable about the Bible in many different ways. And the Bible's history too. Even when I was still a Christian, I was teaching on biblical history and how the Bible was put together and how it was revised and the changes they made to it. So I was still a Christian and I knew about that stuff. But over time, eventually, through all the different reasons that I've shared on TikTok and on YouTube, that changed. So yes, thank you, Jazzy Girl. Thank you. Yeah. Do I dig philosophy in general? Yes, I do. I love philosophy in general. I really do. I don't know why. I just do. I like to theorize, and I like to think about the logic behind different philosophies and doctrines. Mostly, I was so obsessed with the meaning of life and the purpose of life for so many years that even if I try and escape philosophy, it still runs through my head all the time. So it's just easier for me to just talk about it and share what I've learned and what I know, instead of running away from it and trying to I guess just ignore what I genuinely care about. What's up, Sarah Kay? Good morning. Thank you. Hope you have a great day also. Where you get logic from in your world view? Yeah, Epicurus and the Roman Stoics are cool. Yeah. Uh, logic isn't something that you necessarily get from like a book, or um, logic is something that, I mean, that's a really good question, actually. It makes me want to study that out a little bit more before I go too deep into it. But in my perspective, and it could be very limited and naive at this point, but to my perspective, logic is just something we use to rationalize things that make sense versus things that contradict each other logically. Um, so in their like core mathematical premise, like do they go along with each other, or do they conflict, these two ideas or two premises or theories? And logic is what allows us to say, no, these things can't fit together, or they do. So, all right, Forrest Dumps, have a good day. Enjoy your philosophy group. Appreciate the gifts and everything, man. I really appreciate that. What's wrong with contradicting? I mean, what's wrong with contradicting, really? If things contradict, you can't have anything, like, right? Like, if you have contradicting mathematical principles, then we have no banking system, right? If you have contradicting laws, then we have no legal system. If you have contradicting anything, then you can't build a system to operate from, because there's not certainty about the concrete nature of whatever that principle is. So things shouldn't contradict. When they do, we should try and figure out why, and see if we can remove a contradiction and make something jive. Do you think the people who put the Bible together used philosophy but ignored the best of it? Yeah, they definitely use philosophy. We can see very clearly where they're getting some of their philosophies from, especially Philo, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, Seneca, people like that, Homer. So yeah, I think they use philosophies to try and develop especially the New Testament, the early Christian movements. Do they ignore the best of it? Probably. I mean, maybe. I think they thought they were using what they thought was the best of it, and putting it into a worldview and a narrative that they like. But I don't think it is the best of it. If you study the philosophy of Zen, or the philosophy of Lao Tzu, yeah, I think there's better philosophies there than the ones in the New Testament for daily living, for example. When people are in trouble, anguish, etc., there's a need to call to a higher power for help. Do you? No, there's not. There's no need to call to a higher power for help. You don't have to do that. And no, I don't. I used to. It was a hard habit to break, actually. Like, it's been about 2 years now since I really decided, like, look, I'm not a Christian anymore. And for the first couple of months, I would still be like, God, why? And say things like that didn't really, they're just habit. But over time, you go, oh, that's stupid, and you just stop saying stuff like that. And you don't even think that way anymore. You just realize things happen, and there doesn't have to be a reason that's like existential and secret and hidden and purposeful and symbolic for the things that happen. Things just happen because things just happen. That's just the way it is in nature and everywhere else in the world around us. And there doesn't have to be some some person controlling that or causing that or whatever. It just happens. Things just happen. You don't have to cry out and ask why or ask for help. Do you believe that Jesus actually existed? No, I don't. No, I don't. Personally, I do not. So yeah, obviously I know very much about the scholars, even the atheists, supposedly scholars, who think that he may have existed, albeit they don't think the stories about him are true. They don't think he walked on water, and they don't think he did miracles and was risen from the dead. But they do think that there might have been an actual dude that all this is sort of spun off of. I don't even believe that. I think that through history, we see that the standard is the opposite. The standard is typically you have archetypal motif characters who are mythical and fictional from the beginning, and then later stories are told to try and make them seem human and give them some sort of historical context, even though they never had one. And so we see that as a standard through history before Jesus, and I think the same thing happened with Jesus personally. By what moral standard can you say anything is good or evil in your worldview? The standard of empathy, the standard of compassion, the standard of society. Look, if you look into let's say a group of monkeys, right, and ask them the same question, they don't believe Jesus Christ died on the cross for their sins. They don't read the Bible, but they share with one another. They take care of each other. They defend their kin, right? This is just common knowledge. Or you could look to outside of Christianity. Ask the same question. What moral standard helps you decide right and wrong? Ask that to any non-Christian in the world. And there's very many of them. Ask to a Buddhist, ask to a Taoist, ask to anyone else, and they'll have plenty of answers for you. But most of the answers are based on what seems to be healthy for society and for ourselves. Morality, in a way, in my opinion, boils down to self-preservation. If I unite with other people and help keep them strong and healthy and help observe a code, or if you want to call it a morality, but a code of living by which we can help each other, I'll protect them and their animals, they'll protect me and mine, then we become stronger. That's how families were always built through history. They would even intermarry to make their families stronger. Morality really just boils down to, in my opinion, self-preservation. It's about what do I think is the best thing for humankind and also me as a part of that humankind, right? And so I don't think it's good that people should run around and steal from each other. I don't think it's good for people to hurt each other unnecessarily or intentionally. Why? Because I don't want people to steal from me. I don't want people to hurt me, And so because I have empathy for others and I don't want these things to happen to me, I should, in my non-hypocritical mindset, help preserve their rights to have their own stuff in their own life. It's equality and it's equity. It's something that humans do, just like animals do. We come together, we team up, and we help each other out. And that, in essence, is where morality evolves from. When people do things that are wrong or that's not right or that's messed up, you're really just saying, I wouldn't want that done to me. That's what you're really saying. So anyway, long story. There's a lot of ways we could talk about that, but morality is subjective. It doesn't seem subjective to Christians because they're told there's only one right and one wrong. There's black and white. But that's not true. Even among Christians, that's not true. That's why there's so many denominations, because they can't agree on the core black and whites of even the scriptural text. So it's subjective even to Christians, really. That's why some Christians worship on Saturday, some on Sunday. Some think it doesn't matter. Some think it does matter. whose morality is right. You see, it's subjective. I don't understand your question/statement. Anyway, any other questions about anything? I thought we were going to talk about military stuff, but it seems like people just want to talk to me about philosophy. That's fine. I understand. I mean, that's like literally the intent of my channel. So I'm not disappointed. I just, it's just funny. If it's subjective, you have no truth in your worldview. See, first of all, you're coming with the wrong tone. It's the wrong approach you're using. If you want to get people to have a fair discussion with you where they share openly and honestly with you about their truth, then you shouldn't accuse them of things. You should just ask questions, right? You shouldn't be like, well, you can't have truth then. Really? Tell that to everyone else on earth who doesn't practice Christianity. They don't have truth. Come on. They have 1 + 1 = 2 also. That's true, right? Don't they have that? I think they do. You're right in one sense. You said, if all things are subjective, morality is subjective, so there's no good or evil. That's exactly right. There is only what's good or evil to you. But one man's good is another man's evil, right? When me and my buddies were sent to Iraq to go door to door and kick down and kill 2,500 people in the city of Fallujah, were we doing good or evil? Well, it depends on who you ask, doesn't it? That's the truth. Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate that, man. Very kind of you. What do you say about the findings around the world that correlate with Bible? It depends on what findings you're talking about specifically, because there are findings around the world that correlate with Egyptian mythology and Zen, right? Buddhism and Tao. There's lots of findings around the world that correlate with a lot of things, including Satanism. So I need to get a little bit more specific to help answer that question. Let's see, how long have I been on here? Can I even tell? I don't even know how long I've been on here. I should probably keep track of time better. All right. Are they talking about historical facts or maybe prophecy about end times? I don't know. Could be either one. Yeah, it can be tiring answering the same questions over and over again. But I literally try not to be offended or even irritated, because I may have explained this 1,000 times already to a lot of people, but not everyone knows or has heard the things that we are saying, not just me, but all the other content creators and even non-content creators, people in the comments section and people out there on the internet. Not everyone's heard these thoughts and arguments and has used this type of rationality to consider what they think is biblical truth or reconsider it. So I try to be patient with them. I try to most of the time, but it can be frustrating because they come in with the wrong tone. Again, it's one thing if someone says, hey man, I genuinely don't understand why you could think this way. What about this? And that's their tone, that's their approach, whatever. I have no problem explaining over and over and over to someone like that the things that I've already said. But when they come in and they're like, you're vile, you're depraved, you're wretched, you could have no morality, you must not have standards, you can't have truth and all this stuff, then it's really hard then to be kind and patient with people like that, because you're just like, look, you're not even attempting to logically think this through. Clearly, you're just speaking with emotion. And that's not a good way to find truth, to just use emotional manipulation, which is what the Christian church does during worship services. All right, see, Diosa, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a good one. I'm apt to answer questions when they are kind and not half-cocked. Exactly. Yeah. You can tell when people are just, all they care to do is try and, I guess defend their own house of cards and not really examine it close enough. Do absolutes exist? I don't know. It depends on what you mean. That's such a loaded question. Sarah says, theists are only in it for themselves. Most selfish, ignorant group of people I've ever met. Oh, man. It really feels that way sometimes. It really does. It really does. It really feels that way sometimes. But again, many of us were theists, right? I was. Some of you may have been, even those of you who appreciate my content and stuff. So I don't know. It's like I want to be patient with people because I was there and I was irritated and I was emotional. So I'm just trying to be empathetic as much as I can. But I make jokes, I write raps, I do stuff, but it's all about people's approach. What do they really want? Are you absolutely sure? What are you even trying to attempt to do? Watch all my videos about how the Bible is fake. I already explained the logical question that you asked. Joshua says, I'm going to go take my heathen ass outside and mow. Have a great day. All right, bro. Enjoy mowing. How about the pillar of salt they found, or the ark? They said they found it. They didn't, though. There's no pillar of salt shaped like a human woman-sized pillar of salt. Have you seen pictures of this thing? You see a woman standing there? I don't. I haven't. And the ark was completely debunked as well. There's no ark that has been found that's been built big enough and by the specs required to carry 2 or 7 of every animal on earth, depending on if it's clean or unclean. All this stuff, this Ron Wyatt stuff, is total pseudoscience, easily debunked stuff. How do I know the Bible is fake? Man, I've literally been talking about how I know the Bible is fake for a couple of years. So you should subscribe, start flipping through my TikTok content, or you can go to my YouTube channel called Bullet Holes in the Bible, and there's a link in the bio. So you go to my profile, click on my link tree, go to my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube playlist called New Testament Debunked. I have a playlist called Recovering from Religion. I have videos called Why I Left Christianity. It's on and on and on and on and on how I know the Bible is fake. I'm a Christian and I appreciate your opinion. I disagree with a lot of what Christians believe. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yes, I have looked into Gnosticism. I have. I studied it a bit. So you believe the Bible to be the greatest deception in the course of history? I don't know if it's the greatest deception in the course of history, but it's a pretty big one. Yeah. It's a control mechanism using fear, guilt, and shame to manipulate people and to give power to religious authorities and to influence governments and to keep you thinking the way you think and feeling the way you feel. Yeah, it's pretty big. Pretty big. But it wasn't the first religion to do stuff like that. So it's just the most popular one in America right now, temporarily, since Christianity is in decline. So I give it 20 years, it won't be the predominant religion here anymore, based on the statistics. What's truth in your worldview? Anything that we can put our hands on and prove. Yes, it is a socio-economic tool of control. Absolutely. There's a book called Creating Christ. I think it's by James Valiant, and Warren Fahey. Very good book, and that really pushes that perspective quite a bit too. That the Romans actually were adopting it as a tool of control. Also, someone said, just in my country, the DR, they killed about 7 million indigenous people just to spread the gospel. There you go. In my country, they rehomed and killed and fought off, I don't even know how many American natives to spread the gospel, manifest destiny and all this stuff. These are my ancestors, by the way. That's right. Sarah K., you're correct. That's good. I'm an ex-Mormon, and that is so fake. It taught me to question all religious ideologies. Yes. Yes, I agree. A lot of crazy stuff in that one, too. A lot of ex-Mormons coming out right now, too, and speaking on the internet about their experiences. A lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses coming out. It's really great, honestly. And they stripped us away from the indigenous practices and now call it demonic. Yeah, exactly. Anything that they don't understand or control is demonic, essentially. Senator Tim Scott said the government should bow the knee to religion. I thought we escaped a theocracy. I know. Well, that's Christian nationalism at its finest for you. They still think they own this place. It's hilarious. I didn't say that truth is subjective. I said morality is subjective. You're moving the goalpost. Thank you, Tiny Smalls, sorry. What's wrong with Christian nationalism of morality is subjective in your world? Christianity, Christian nationalism, what's wrong with it? It's bad for mental health. It's bad for the health and welfare of many people. It's based on fairy tales. It's based on archaic Bronze Age BS, frankly. Got Christians running around hating on everybody for everything, literally all the time, telling them they're going to go to hell, using fear-based trauma to indoctrinate children, causing religious trauma syndrome and spiritual abuse, which inhibits cognitive thinking capabilities based on psychological studies. So there's like tangible stuff we can look at to see why Christian nationalism is not the best approach. Everything is wrong with it. Yes, I agree. Everything. That's right. Tiny Smalls. Christian nationalism is what happened in Germany from 1931 to 1946. Yep. Yep. I hear you, Dad Lard. I feel you. It's like a journey we're all on, isn't it? Always learning. If we're humble enough, if we want to know what's honestly available in terms of perspectives, And we don't want to be a victim of sort of a one-track indoctrination mindset. Then we got to keep ourselves open to continuing to grow and learn. And that's precisely what's wrong with Christian thinking, is they can't do that. It's literally violates their own sense of morality to consider other perspectives. Yeah, religious rule is unconstitutional in the United States as well, Tiny says. Exactly. Canonum. I don't even know what you're saying. I hear good versus evil claims, but no moral standard. Subjective, right? No good or evil. Yeah, good and evil is like, good and evil is, again, it's depending on who you are and what religion you fall into or whatever you think you're doing. There is no good or evil. In reality, it's just a construct, right? There's what's safe. There's what's desired. You know, I desire to live and to thrive and to raise kids and to enjoy my life here or whatever, right? If I think that's good, so be it. But there are people out there who don't think that's good. Christians specifically don't think that what I'm doing is good. So who's right? I guess it's subjective in that way. But I think we can all agree that it's good. Self-preservation is typically good for any human or non-human culture to protect themselves, right? To stay alive, to procreate, to exist freely within the bounds of their capabilities to do so. Those things seem good, but to others, they might not. They might not seem good. I mean, we're just talking about the war of Christian nationalism in Germany in 1931 through 46. They thought they were doing good. They weren't to us. But who says what's good and what's not? It's subjective. What do you think happens when we die? Personally, this might sound crazy, but I actually have looked at the University of Virginia studies on reincarnation, and I think that that's a genuine possibility. And people who mock that or think that's crazy haven't read those things, haven't done that study yet. I'm most of the time. I've read 2 books about it and looked at a lot of the studies, and these are verifiable, literally verifiable. I don't care about non-verifiable stuff. Proofs of children having knowledge, verifiable knowledge that you can go and touch and see and test and prove of living a former life. So I think that's possible. But also you can study near-death experiences, and that's another whole thing that's been studied for centuries, literally. I think the first near-death experience scientific studies we have are like from France in the 1700s or something. So they've been documenting that and talking about that for a long time too. And it seems like when people die, they have a very similar experience, regardless of who they are. But I can't prove any of that. I can only go off of what data is available, and I don't remember my past life. I don't. If that's a real thing, if that really happened, I don't remember it. So I guess my working theory would be based on the reincarnation studies that I've done, that when humans are born, they're not supposed to remember. Their brain's not supposed to carry with them I guess you would say, the evidence of their previous interaction with reality, but sometimes it does temporarily for kids. A lot of kids will have these really detailed, specific, again, verifiable information when they're young, and then when they grow up, they forget it. They can't remember a lot of the stuff that they used to know. So it's important that if you have kids showing signs of previous life experience, that you get them in to see one of the University of Virginia scholars when they're young, because they'll really pull out the details and find out if this is just a fairy tale because sometimes they are, or if there's information here that we can go and verify. So interesting stuff. Could you be wrong about everything you claim to know? Define wrong. I mean, I guess could I be wrong that the sun is in the sky right now? Could I? You tell me that. Could I be wrong that the sun is coming through my window? It's kind of a, I don't even mean to be mean, but it's kind of a dumb question. There are some things that we're pretty sure about, and there's some things we're not, right? Could I be wrong that the sun is coming through my window right now? You answer that for me, and then we'll move forward. Meanwhile, you're just running in circles and don't really give a crap about understanding the perspectives outside of your own, clearly. That's what religious indoctrination does, especially when it's fear-based, because you're actually afraid to think differently. Okay, I'm not going to respond to my question. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to give this a few more minutes and answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to go back to doing my good, meaningful, fulfilling, moral things that I'm going to do today. So, oh wow, okay. There's a conversation going in my chat that I'm not part of. Tiny says, I'm sure they're either proselytizing or trying to reconvert. Yeah, I get that. I still get emails from old friends of mine and stuff saying they're still praying for me, and it's really sweet. Really nice of them. I think the reality is that my existence really bothers them because I kept the law according to the Torah as best as I possibly could. And these people are still doing that. And according to the Torah, we should be blessed in all these ways for keeping the law. And we're not. We weren't. I was doing it for years with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength, with zero hesitation. And since I've now violated the law, yes, I ate pork. Yes, I don't keep the Sabbath anymore on Saturdays. You know, now that I've violated the law and I've left the Torah, I should be experiencing all the curses of the Torah from Deuteronomy, 28 or 23? And I'm not. I'm not experiencing the curses of the Torah. These people would love to see me get in a car accident or get a disease. They would love to see me, like, basically treated the way Job was, even though Job was a righteous servant. But they would love nothing more than to see me fail and have issues, and so they could be like, see, God's punishing him because he abandoned the faith and he stopped keeping Torah, just like the Bible says. But alas, my life is better than ever, in every single way. Literally, I have less drama. All the struggles and stuff I was dealing with when I was in Christianity have all but disappeared. Money's good. My relationship with my wife and kids is better than ever. I love my job. I love my life. I love waking up every day. It's been literally better than any other time of my entire life. So that really irritates people. And they just keep telling me they're praying for me. And I'm like, well, I seem to be doing better than you, so maybe I should pray for you. Thank you. That was nice. Your fam's content has been a huge blessing and encouragement. Thanks. Sarah says her life has never been better since she started witchcraft. There you go. There's your testimony. Testify. That's what Christians do, right? We got all these little testimonies. I think Wiccans should testify more frequently. Good. She says it's so empowering. Good. Good. I'm glad it's empowering and brings you peace and doesn't cause you to become a psycho murderer or something, which Christians think it will. Meanwhile, they unalive people in the name of God all through their history. How ironic. Yep, you're exactly right, Tiny. She said, or he or she, I'm not sure which one of you, or they, sorry. It bugs people because it means their worldview comes into question and they don't like to question it. I agree. Totally. Shamanism and paganism all the way. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Enjoy. Enjoy your freedom to think how you like and find peace and fulfillment. All right, guys. I'm going to pop off of here, I think, and just get out of here and go do things. It's good to see you guys discuss a little bit. I know we didn't really talk about combat or Marine Corps or war or anything like that, but it seems like that's not what the chat is interested in right now. I'll keep that in mind for next time. But Mike Shigan, humanism is the way, he says. All right, I can agree with that to an extent. You're welcome, Sarah. You're welcome for sharing. I'll be doing more of these hopefully soon. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Peace. If I can figure out how to end my live, we'll talk again soon.